Howdy.
And family. We have been, well, it's been a while. It was probably a month or so ago. We asked people about who wants information on stockpiling, and there was quite a few people who said yes, please give me information. I don't know anything about it. Or some people were just like, why would you stockpile? My question is, why would you not? Especially with the things going on around us. Anybody who's been to the store lately, you've noticed that there's some things are really well stocked and other things not so much. And, really, it doesn't matter where you live. Here in Florida, hurricanes, it's always a good idea to stay stockpiled, not because you're being stingy. And I'm not talking about coupon stockpiling. That's not what I'm talking about.
No.
Today we're talking about things that you need to have for the safety of your family if something were to go wrong. Let's say that the grid shuts down, or you lose power. There's an emergency. If you're in California, it could be like a fire type situation. If you're somewhere where it's cold, it could be a blizzard to where it shuts down your power. Mm-hmm. The grid was just shut down in Texas. Hey Brittany. Here in Florida, it could be the hurricanes. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with having a stockpile, but it's something that's near and dear to our hearts that we would strongly encourage you. If you do not have a stockpile started, start now. Start this paycheck, and
don't go crazy. You don't have to buy everything at once. I mean, over the course of a few months, we bought what we have because we just was talking. We got 5 kids. And if something was to happen, how are we going to feed the 5 kids? Mm-hmm. If you don't have gas to go find a place to go hunting, or because we live in town. There's not too many farms like right around next door that we can, hey, I'm taking one of your cows or something.
Yeah.
Which that'd probably get you shot anyways.
And the world's going crazy. If you haven't figured that out, turn on the news. Things are getting funky. So what we did was we wrote down the top 25 must-haves for your stockpile that we recommend. So like I said, if you're going to the grocery store this week, you want to grab a pen and a piece of paper to take down notes, that's great. This will be on a replay, and I'm also going to save it and put it on our YouTube channel so you guys can refer back to it when the time comes. Hey Heather. So some of the things, like I said, if you put back $10 a week and say, okay, I'm going to get, an extra BOGO at Publix or something like that. It doesn't have to be, crazy, but make sure that you have, hey Stacey, make sure that you've got something put back for your family in case you can't get to the store, in case you can't have Walmart delivered, in case, there is no power if you're stuck at home. If the power goes out, you're not going to be able to get gas because it takes power to run the, the gas pumps. It takes power to run the credit card machine, to run the cashier, the cash registers at the store. You're not going to be able to do that if there's no power. These are things you need to have on hand starting now. Take this as your, hello, everybody, wake up, get your stockpile together. This is what we recommend you need. And the possibilities are endless, but like I said, we're going to start with the top 25, and I'm going to try to keep it short, sweet, and to the point, because some of these things, number 1, we could do a 30-minute video on just number 1. So we'll go.
And we're not doing doomsday. If we was doing doomsday, it'd be like, you get your Bible out, you need to know Jesus is your Lord and Savior, but you need to know that anyways. But we're just stockpile for safety issues for if a hurricane comes. Yeah. We've had where we've been out of power for a little while, and if you're like us, we don't have a generator. And the generator's only going to last for a few days if you don't have enough gas to run it.
Yeah, and you have no way to get fuel.
So your cold stuff after you cooked it, what you going to do after that?
Yeah. So there's a lot of things to think through. Get right with Jesus, but then again, my mama always told me that God doesn't expect you to pray for a hole while you're leaning on a shovel. The grocery stores are open today. There's canned goods. There's things out there that we need. Let's get it now so that when we need it, we've got it on hand. All right, so I'm going to start with number 1. You want to do number 2? We'll go back and forth. Okay, so number 1 is food. Okay, that should be a given. Food, lots and lots of food. Canned food. Like I said, this could be a 30-minute video on just food, but make sure you got canned food. Instant meals. You don't want the blue box of Kraft macaroni and cheese because you may not have milk and butter and the things that you need to make it. If you're going to get mac and cheese for your stockpile, Get the shells and cheese that come with a little, squeezed cheese. You just have to have water to boil your noodles, and then you've got a meal. Think of things like that. Canned meats, rice. Brown rice doesn't save as long as white rice. White rice is like indefinite. Coffee, things like that. You're going to want to make sure that you have food stockpiled, and put away vegetables, anything that you can think of, things that are going to last for a while. Ramen is really, really good. It lasts forever. It's lightweight. If you have to leave your home for an emergency, the bug out bag type things, which is another whole subject. That's something easy you can put in there. You can eat it on the go. Worst case scenario, beans and things like that. You can get the food grade 5-gallon buckets with the lids, and you can put it in there. Peanut butter, as long as the peanut butter doesn't last like indefinitely, just because of the oils can spoil. So as long as you're planning on eating it within the next 2 years, you should be good. Keep an eye on your dates, but most canned foods will last about 6 years after their expiration date. So those are pretty safe. Make sure they're not dented. But they hold up really well. So number one is get yourself some food, and with that goes seasonings. Some of that we don't really think about, but you're gonna want things to flavor. If you're eating rice and beans, you may want a Spanish flair, and you may want to get your chili powder. You may want some garlic, and make it kind of you've got some canned tomatoes. You're gonna make spaghetti or whatever, and you're pretty much off grid living at this point because you have no power, you have no access to things. Make sure you get your spices and stuff when you're stocking up on your food, because that's something a lot of people, they don't really think about. So dry goods and canned goods, make sure you have enough for your family. And what is enough? Something's better than nothing. So that's kind of a good rule to keep in mind.
Next one is, are you going down?
Yeah.
Next one is water. You gotta have water to live. And you gotta have at least 2 ways of purifying water. And there's many various ways. We've got a what you call a Berkey water filter.
Yeah, Berkeys are they're super expensive. They're like $300 to $500 for this water purifier.
We made our own.
Yeah, but you can make it.
We made it, well, it was $80.
Yeah, it's about $80, and there's a video I'll put in the comments when we're done on ways to make your own Berkey system. You can get these 2 filters from Amazon, the porcelain filters, the ceramic filters. You put those into 5-gallon buckets with lids and a spigot. We have a crying child. So I will put that in the comments whenever we're done. I'll attach that link. And like I said, for about $80, it will purify, I can't remember, I want to say it's close to 20,000 gallons of water. So worst case scenario, we can walk down to the lake, scoop up our 5-gallon bucket of lake water, purify it, and then, within a few minutes have drinking water for our family. So, and it's something that'll last. So get bottled water, absolutely. Life straws are really great. If you can get the life straws, they're kind of expensive, but they do pay for themselves. So I encourage you to get life straws, get bottled water. If you can make yourself a Berkey, or if you've got a lot of funds and you want to just go buy one, I encourage you to do that. They also sell these little capsules that you can put into water. They're like chlorine little capsule tabs that you can put in, and it'll purify your water too. And worst case scenario, you're off grid, you can always boil water if you have to make it safe. If it's nasty water, you can always siphon it through like pantyhose or something and then boil it to make it safe to drink. But I would encourage you to find enough bottled water to have put up, and to get a way to purify your own water when the bottled water runs out.
Did you tell them about flavoring too? With it?
No, I think that's another.
That's
a different.
Okay.
That's a different number. You're getting ahead of us. Okay, number 3. You want to do number 3?
Paper products. You gotta have paper plates, napkins. I got big hands, so I can use it as a bowl or a plate, but some people don't have as big hands. So you want something to be able to keep your food on while you're trying to eat, or napkins or toilet paper. Even though you may not have running water or electric, you may have to dig a hole out in the backyard somewhere, but you also want something to clean up with.
Yeah.
I don't like dirty butts.
And a lot of this is like, duh, it's not a newsflash to anybody, but it's something to think about. You want your plastic, spoons or forks, because that's something that you can dispose of. If you don't have access in the pump in your house, or let's say you've got well water, your pump goes out because there's no electricity, how are you going to get more water? You don't want to waste your clean water washing your dishes. So let's try to think of ways, foil that we can line our pots and pans with so that they can last a little bit longer, without us having to use our water reserves on dumb things like washing dishes when we can use it for, sustaining life. That's a lot more important. Okay, so that was number 3. Number 4 is duct tape and zip ties. And these two kind of go hand in hand because they can fix anything.
All my chicken coops put up with tie wires or zip ties.
Yeah. So zip ties, duct tape. And 2, you maybe think, well, that's kind of dumb. I've never really thought about that. But I'm trying to see these comments. But, duct tape's one of those things to where if you have it, let's say that, things go crazy and you can use that to barter with other people. So, you make it a really big thing of duct tape and think, well, I don't really need this, but somebody else may need that. And that may be something you can barter with them to get, fruits and veggies or something that they have that you guys can kind of, build a bartering relationship with. So, duct tape and zip ties. You want to do number 5?
Batteries. If you don't have power, you need batteries to, if you got a radio, a 2-way radio or something, to power it. You need enough for flashlights, your radios, other things that you may need to keep something going. You need batteries, so you need a variety of them because you need to check out. Like the other night we went through to see what kind we needed because our radio takes Type C batteries, where some take D's.
Which isn't a battery we normally keep on hand.
Yep.
C's isn't a really popular battery.
Some of our flashlights take AA's, some of them take AAA's. So
just make sure you have enough of those. Also, if you're planning on using like drills or things like that have batteries, battery packs, make sure your batteries are charged, guys, because it's going to do you no good if your battery's dead and you have no way to recharge it. So if you're planning on using something like that, make sure you have those charged up and ready. Okay, number 6. Girls, if you guys are like me and you like those Bath & Body Works candles, you need candles, not necessarily those. I have a bumper crop of them hidden away, stashed away, and that is for my stockpile. It's very important. Just because we don't have power doesn't mean our house is going to stink. So if y'all smell, it smells like Bath & Body Works down the road, you just follow it. You'll probably find our house. So you need candles. With that, you're going to need matches, guys. Duh. Matches. You're going to need lighters. Yep. Those little, like the ones you use for the grill or whatever. Make sure you have enough. You're going to need a way to make fire. Got us a solar charging station. That's great. And decide before the time comes what you're going to use that for, because most of them only will power X amount. So, like, let's say you got a freezer, keep your freezer going.
But matches,
we
tried to get some the other night, and all we could get was little packs.
Yes.
Little packs. They said they was out of the big pack, which I know it was New Year's Eve, so a lot of people
even the last month, it's been hard. We've looked for matches at Rural King, Walmart. The Dollar Tree, and all those places have been sold out. So if you see some matches, get the different sizes. Make sure you've got enough, because you're going to need fuel. You're going to need, fire to cook and, to live. You're going to need fire to live. So get you some matches, lighters, and candles. Of course, you probably already have those in your stockpiles. Number 7, you need a battery-powered radio. Okay, think about it. Okay, if you have your phone and you're like me, you use it for everything, the time, the date, the weather. When all of that shuts down, you're going to need a way to keep in contact with people. You're going to need a way to know what is going on in the world outside of the 4 walls of your living area, wherever it is, whether you're here or off grid. What's going on. Get a battery-powered radio. They also have the hand pump kind, I think, that are like, self-charging. Look into those. You're going to need a radio so that you know what's going on outside the doors of your home.
Like a transistor or whatever, where you can spin it.
I don't know. I know they have ones that are not battery-powered. You can self-power them. Get you a radio, okay, that's not your phone.
We were talking about the batteries, but number 8 was flashlights, candles, or lantern. I'm sorry, we already talked about candles, flashlights, lanterns. So that way you have ways of lighting your house in the evening time. When it gets dark and you don't have no street lights, it gets pretty dark over here. So you need something that you can see. Our kids love to play with the lights, and I get on to them all the time. Hey, I know we got those for you for Christmas, but it's for a purpose. But make sure you keep them to where you can get to them. We have little flashlights, bigger flashlights. We even got some lantern style LED lights that, thanks to my parks manager, he gave us a few years ago.
Yeah.
That we still use for camping and all that, but they take batteries.
Yeah, you're going to need light. If something were to happen, like I said, it could be something major. It could be, the grid, they have to restart the grid and everything shuts down and you have no access to electricity anywhere. Or it could be something like a hurricane or a blizzard or something. Just make sure you have a stockpile because it's better to have it on hand, and then that way whenever you need it, it's there. Okay, we're not like prophesying into the future. We're not saying this is doomsday prep. We're just telling you if you don't have a stockpile, you need to have one. And if you haven't started one yet, start today. Start yesterday. But if you didn't start yesterday, start today. Okay, so flashlights and lanterns. Another thing that we don't think about, you guys, because we've gotten so stuck on technology, is you need a paper map. And you need to know how to use it. You know how to read the map. Because if you have an escape plan, or let's say you have to flee your house for an evacuation or something, you need to know the back ways to get to where you're going. Why? Because everybody and their brother is going to be following the GPS on how to get out, where to go, and it's going to lead them to the major highways and byways and the interstates, and they're going to be swamped with people, and it's going to be hard to evacuate. So if there are back ways, now is the time to research that. Now is the time to make your plan on how you're going to get out, should you need to. And don't follow your GPS, because like I said, that's the way everybody's going to go. And when your cell phone stops working, if you need to know how to get to somewhere, you're going to need that paper map, and it'll be there. So if you don't already have one invested, if you haven't invested in that this year, a lot of homeschoolers probably have maps around. That's a good thing. If you don't have one, get yourself a paper map.
Eli, last year.
Yeah, he has an atlas. Yeah,
so
that's what we have. It has the whole United States,
yep.
And so we can kind of know where we're going. But if you don't have a paper map, get one. If you don't know how to use it,
start learning.
Figure it out. It's not that hard.
Propane or fuel. We was talking about generators, and I've got a gas grill here. So if the power goes out, our stove's electric. Some people have gas stoves and all, but we got a gas grill outside, and we've also got a camp stove that we use for camping that is set up to take propane. So and actually today I got to go, if they still got it in stock, I need to go get some propane for us.
Yeah.
Because my grill went out, so I can't even grill right now because I don't have no propane.
Keep fuel. Keep extra fuel.
If you have a generator, make sure you get some fuel. Yeah. And even with the fuel, they sell that additive, so it sets up a little bit that you put in to renew it, so to say. So that way you got some fuel for your generator if you have it, or for your vehicles if you have to make a quick run out somewhere and you don't have enough fuel. Yeah. You have the gas in your shed or whatever.
And along with, like you said, fuel and wood, there's a lot of people who don't know how to start a fire properly. Like, they think that if you put your wood down and you throw your match, it's just going to start a fire and you're going to be able to cook. That is not realistic. So learn how to build a fire. Whenever you're getting your wood, make sure you've got some kind of kindling. Whether it's, dry sticks or, dryer lint, something. Make sure you have something to help kindle that fire.
Quick one to make a fire starter. Take your empty paper towel roll or toilet paper roll. Melt you some Gulf wax. Put that in. Put you some the lint from your dryer. Put it in. Mix it with that Gulf wax, and then you can start it, and it'll burn enough to where you can get the little pieces of wood started to get the bigger stuff started. Yeah, it's a quick tip.
It's a process. Everybody thinks, well, I've got a lighter, so I've got fire. That is not necessarily true. So wood, charcoal. If you don't have a grill, you can get the charcoal for the grill. But another thing to think about is these rocket stoves. If you've got cinder blocks, like the cement blocks, that's what my parents have, and they've used it to turn it into a rocket stove. So it's like 3 or 4 blocks. You can look them up on Google. You can look them up on YouTube. How to make one? It's really simple. There's like 2 cuts I think you have to make in the cement block, and you can put an oxygen fed burning stove there, and you can cook right on top of the blocks. So that's something to look into while you're researching. Check that out.
So make sure if you don't have that, make sure you got wood or charcoal, and just do your research on wood, because some wood's not good to cook on. Pine wood's good to burn, for just regular fire, but it's not really good to cook on because it has the sap in it, and the sap will absorb into your food. So make sure you know which wood to use, and to cook on and all. And talking about that, we have a gas grill, but if you have a fire pit at your house, you can turn it into a stove.
Yeah.
You can cook over it. Yes, you may burn up some of your good pots, but hey, keep you from starving.
When a lot of people don't know that in order to make wood burn, you can't just cut down a tree and go light it on fire.
It's got to season some before you can actually
use it, and they recommend seasoning your wood for about 6 months before you use it for a fire. So guys, if we need this next week, next month, You're not going to have 6 months to season your wood. You need to be prepared.
I know, shout out to Lowe's. I mean, they're not sponsoring us or nothing like that, but I know they was carrying, I think it was cedar, or not cedar, but there's a certain type that, you could, good for cooking and, and for burning, that, they had them on the shelves. I don't know if they still do or not, but, it come in little bags, so you can store it and tow them where we need to. So, but I think Publix had it too, so.
Yeah.
Home Depot, Publix.
In the cooler months, if there is a cooler month, hey Victoria, hey Sabrina, if there is such a thing as a cooler month, they do sell wood around. But if you have wood, like I said, you're planning on chopping down a tree, it's got a season. They recommend 6 months before you use it for your fire. Okay, so number 12. For those of you just tuning in, you can always watch the replay for the first 11 things we've talked about. Number 12 is hygiene products. Okay, so this is kind of a given. You're gonna want soap. You're gonna want deodorant. Sanitary items, pads and tampons, things like that. You're going to need those stocked up ahead of time because you're not going to be able to get to the store to get these things. Hey, Kitty Cat. She's helping us. Toothpaste is another one. Now, whenever I'm talking about soap, all right, like us personally, there's more than one way to use an idol, okay? So if you don't want to go out and buy 15 different kinds of soaps, don't buy. What I would encourage you to do is to get Ivory soap for your ladies and your babies, because it's softer on the skin. You can shred it up and use it to wash your clothes. You can, if you have to, you can use it to wash your dishes. The Ivory soap can also be used on your hair as a shampoo. The bar soap now, just the cheap bar soap is what I'm talking about, not body wash. The liquid stuff's not gonna last. You're gonna go through it. It's gonna be wasted. You're gonna spill it while you're out, taking a dip in the pool somewhere, getting rinsed off if you're washing off with a rag. So Ivory soap, I encourage you to get that. If you have to bathe in public waters or something, like that, let's say you have a creek or something, there's a lake. If you had to use that, the Ivory soap does float where the others don't. So that's good to know. You don't want to be chasing an alligator for your bar soap. So Ivory soap is multi-purpose and it's safe for the baby skin. And Irish Spring is what I recommend if you're going to stockpile bar soap for the men, because like I said, shampoo, body wash. You also can use a cheese grater, grate up the Irish Spring soap, because let's think about it. When things start shutting down, you're going to have rodents and animals trying to come into your house. And if you shred up Irish Spring, you can put it along the outside perimeter of your home, your windows and things, and it's going to prevent pests from wanting to come into your house. So it's going to keep your family a little safer. It's just going to kind of help the whole health and cleanliness of your entire house and environment. So I recommend, if you're getting soap, that you look at for yourselves, that you look at Irish Spring for the men and Ivory for the women. But all hygiene products, toothpaste, anything like that, you're going to get a little bit. You can get it from the Dollar Tree decently. $5 this week, you've got enough to last you, a month or two.
Yeah. Did you go over women products,
the sanitary pads, stuff like that. Make sure you've got
just
it.
Little things that you don't really think about, until you actually need them. And if you don't have them, it's
you're going to need them. Number 13.
You did soaps.
Yeah, this is our kind.
Oh, different kinds. Okay. Soaps, once again, you need laundry soap, dish soap. What does it say?
Dishes.
Oh, that's laundry and dishes. So you need a couple different soaps, which Kim went over some of it that you can use for different things. But
well, the reason I put this on there because it should be kind of like a duh, not like everybody knows we need soap. But if you're like me, you use little pods in your washing machine for your clothes. Use little Tide Pods or whatever. That's not going to work. If you have to hand wash your clothes, you don't want a Tide Pod. You're never going to be able to rinse that out. You're going to waste all your clean water getting your clothes washed. That's dumb. Get a cheap liquid form little, pour bottle of laundry detergent. That's what you're going to want. You're going to want enough to stay clean and alive. You're not going to worry about how great it smells. And that's something that a lot of people don't use anymore, is liquid detergent for their washing machine. Same thing with dish soap. Those little Finish, quantum little things we use in our dishwasher. Your dishwasher isn't going to work. You're going to have to hand wash your dishes. That's why we mentioned paper products earlier. Save some water somewhere. But, you need a liquid dish soap that you can use. Like I said, unless you get the Ivory and the Irish Spring that you can multi-purpose, you need to make sure you get soap for you and soap for the things around you, because you're going to be doing a lot of hands-on cleaning once the power goes down.
And if you got a baby, you need baby supplies.
Yep, number 14.
Yep, 14 is baby supplies. Diapers, wipes, formula. Because I mean, if you can't get to the store or the stores are closed down because they can't change you out, this is some of the stuff that you need on hand. I mean, we got a baby now, and there's things that we got to think about. So we got to pick up diapers and wipes for them. Which and two, like if you got napkins, if you run out of wipes, you can wet a napkin and use it.
Rags, even rags.
Yep, that you can wash.
Worst case scenario.
If you can have it on hand though, because sometimes the wipes, not only for the baby, but you can use them to kind of freshen up a little bit too if you needed to.
Yeah, and when you're tired, simplicity it matters. When you're exhausted and just trying to survive. Number 15 is medicines. Okay, so now some of you guys are on prescription medicines. You need to make sure that you have some of that put back, just like you would for any kind of emergency. If back whenever we thought, was it 2020 when we thought the stores were like they shut down for a little bit? Okay, so you made sure that you had your prescriptions, or if you didn't, it was an eye opener. I need to make sure I have some of those filled and on hand. So get your prescriptions. You're gonna need things for, you're gonna need Neosporin. You're gonna need gauze. You're gonna need like a first aid kit type thing. You're gonna need pain medicine. Ibuprofen. If you got formula, you gotta have water. That goes back to the Berkey. If you've got a Berkey system, it's gonna filter at least, it's at least 20,000 gallons. Our one Berkey system will do. So that's gonna help the whole family. I'm trying to catch up. Diapers and formula or other things are hard at the beginning. Exactly. That's why you go ahead and stockpile now. Thanks, you guys. I'm glad y'all are learning. We're all in this together.
Well, because people buy out. As soon as the panic sets in, people buy out, and they won't. So some of this stuff will be hard to get once if something happens. So you want to make sure you go ahead and have some stocked up.
Yeah, have it on hand.
And you can go through. So you got it on hand. Go out there and use it, but then just buy it to refresh it.
Exactly. So, my canned goods aren't going to sit there for 6 years. If the Lord tarries. My canned goods are going to be there, and I'm going to use them, and I'm going to replace them. So back on medicines, get your prescription medicines. You're going to want pain meds. If you get an injury whenever you're out working, doing things you're not used to doing because you have no power, you're working outside, you're going to be spending a lot more time in the fresh air. You're going to need pain meds. You're going to have aches and pains. The last thing you want to do is be hot. If you're here in Florida, you're probably going to be hot no matter what time of year and hurting. So get you some pain meds.
Well, make sure you got aloe. Like if you're here in Florida, because
I think that's actually that's another number.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I'm gonna give him. Check your list. Alrighty, so medicines, pain meds. You're gonna want cold medicines. Go ahead and get them. They're hard to find now because everybody's got some kind of upper respiratory going on. Get your cold meds. Get your Pepto-Bismol. Okay, you may be eating or drinking something that's not gonna sit well with your stomach because you're not used to eating this way. Canned goods and things like that. After a while, you're gonna want some Pepto. Keep it on hand. The possibilities are endless. If you have children or infants, make sure you have children and infant Tylenol, Motrin, the Pepto and stuff for the kids. You're going to want a laxative in case you need it. You're going to want to make sure that you've got, think of what you would normally take, antacids, whatever it is. Try to stock up on those things that you use regularly, and then get allergy meds and things like that you may need if you come in contact with, mosquitoes or something that you're exposed to more now that there won't be power versus the regular. So that's something to keep on hand. Just make sure you got all your medicines ready, burn relief, things like that. And number 16 is basic tools. That could be something, and a can opener. That was something the boys were like, a can opener, because we didn't say it whenever we were talking about food. That's a basic tool, a hand can opener. You're going to want one of those swing-aways.
A couple good knives, so that way if you do have to go hunting and you need to skin something,
butcher something.
You gotta have a couple good knives to do that. Make sure you got a knife sharpener, so that way if your knife goes dull, you have some way of sharpening it to cut through whatever you're trying to cut through.
You're gonna want a saw, a hand saw.
Yep.
You're gonna want, because these are things that but I've got a chainsaw, but you're not gonna have power, so once that goes out, you're out.
Or if
Why are
you're
we
out of
stocking
gas,
up? Just in case you need it. If you don't have stockpile needed, you can get one.
Yep.
You can never be too prepared.
Hurricanes, Nana.
That's it. It could be hurricanes. It could be the world shutting down. But it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Saws. You're gonna want shovels. Things like that. You're gonna want a hammer. These things that we take for granted. A screwdriver. Get them on hand. If you don't have them, a little area stashed away in your, workshop or whatever, make sure you've got common sense hand tools because you're gonna need them.
Yep.
I'm not sure.
Nail.
Oh, nails. Yes, David says nails for your hammers.
Screws.
All right. Number 17 is seeds. Okay, we don't know how long this could happen. if and when it happens, you want to be prepared. So seeds are something that if you can't get access to fresh fruit, vegetables, you're going to want that after a while of eating canned, processed stuff. You know, if you've been eating beans and rice for a couple weeks, you're going to want something fresh. And if you have seeds, that's something that within the time of a few months, you can cultivate enough to have food for your family. So
we just had some fresh broccoli. You know, Kim planted some broccoli here,
it's a few months ago.
4 or 5 months ago. Yeah. And, you know, fresh broccoli that, you know, yes, we could buy it from the store, but, you know, she planted it and we harvested it, and I mean, it was delicious.
Yeah.
And I wish I had some more. We only had a little bit. So next time we know how we can plant more.
It's a process. I'm just new to gardening, but seeds are something good to have on hand. Okay, number 18, something important that I didn't really think about. You know, we've got all this water, but what about water flavoring? You know, my kids are picky. They don't really necessarily like to drink just plain water all the time. And so like Aldi, I know Mio has them, but they have these little like squirt water flavoring. Some of them they have that include like electrolytes. Those are something good because if you're siphoning water out of the lake and you're purifying it, it's probably not going to taste amazing. But if you can get some of the Country Time lemonade powder and add it to that, or you know, like I said, those little Mio, you know, little water flavoring liquids from Aldi, you know, whatever, stock up on those. Not only is it going to help you when you get tired and exhausted, if somebody gets sick, they're going to need that sugar to kind of stabilize them. They're going to need
electrolytes if you get diarrhea from the foods that you had to eat and that you're not used to.
If you get a tummy virus, you're going to want to drink something. And sometimes water is just too heavy for those of us who've ever fought some kind of tummy bug. And that water flavoring, that powdered Kool-Aid, like I said, Country Time lemonade, whatever, those are going to help because they're going to offset that taste and make you desire to drink more, which we're all going to need to stay hydrated. All right.
Number 19, entertainment. You know, you're all cooped up in the house together or out in the backyard. You know, entertainment, books, games, you know, board games. I mean, the kids, you know, we love pulling out Monopoly or something like that. We got apples to apples that we play and stuff like that, you know, just stuff that, you know, we do every day, but, you know, I mean, we got an outdoors checkers game that the kids don't play.
Just something to help pass the time because, I mean, you know, you can only straighten up in a house with no AC, no power for so long. You're going to need to make sure you have some of these things on hand, puzzles, something to keep you busy, keep your mind fresh. Alrighty, so number 20, you're going to want some cash, but you're going to want to make sure it's small bills. If you've got hundreds, those of you who are rich, and you go, hey, say, hey, Graceland, the kids are helping us now. Apparently, quiet time's over. So you're going to want cash, but you're going to want the small bills. Why? Because you're going to be bartering. You're not going to want to give out, you know, 20s and 50s and 100s. You're going to want to make sure you got 1s and 5s because if somebody's got some soap and you're going to need some soap, you can barter fresh eggs if you have them. But if you don't have chickens, you may need to use $1 or $2 here or there to buy fuel from somebody else to keep your generator running or to keep your, you know, freezer going, whatever it is. Be prepared. Have some cash on hand, but make sure it's small bills because that's what you're going to need. We are almost done, y'all. Thank you for hanging in here. Number 21 is sunscreen and aloe vera gel because here in Florida, when we're outside, we aren't outside a whole bunch, but you know, if you're outside for any length of time, you need to make sure that you don't have to suffer from heat exhaustion and, you know, sun poisoning, things like that. Let's make sure we've got some sunscreen. Let's make sure we've got the aloe vera gel if we're out maybe longer than we should have been. Like I said, none of this is really rocket science. It's just some things that we found make sense to have put in case you need them.
And we got aloe plants, you know. If you got an aloe plant, you got the gel right there.
And they're easy. They're easy to keep up.
And I said, hey, Graceland.
You say hey. Alrighty. Number 22, for those of you who have pets or animals or livestock, make sure you got enough pet food. Make sure you got feed. If your pets are on medication, same thing with you. Make sure you get that medicine refilled. Make sure you've got the things on hand that you need. Vinegar, yes, Tabitha. I have, I get it in the gallons from Sam's, the vinegar, white vinegar, apple cider vinegar. That's something to keep on hand because you can use it for cleaning. You can use it for, you know, washing things. You can use it as a detergent. There's a lot of things you can use it for.
Or upset stomach.
Yeah.
Or indigestion. You know, I found out the other night.
Careful.
You know.
All my kids are wanting to talk to me. All right, number 23, Jeremiah. He can't see.
I can't.
Firearms and ammo.
Oh, sorry. I couldn't read it. Yes, if you got firearms, you know, you want to make sure you got the ammo to go with it. I mean, because, you know, you got some of this stuff here and people realize that, hey, they're able to sustain themselves. You know, some people are going to try and break in and steal what you got. You know, so you got to protect your home, but also, you know, if you got a place that you can go hunting, you know, you're going to need shells to to go hunting, for squirrel or deer or hog or, to feed your family.
Yeah, it's great to have a stockpile, but you gotta have a way to protect it. So, do what you gotta do. So 23 was firearms and ammo. 24, next to the end, bug spray and rat bait and poison. Because, once things shut down, once there's no, we're not going to have our garbage taken out all the time. Whenever the doo-doo hits the oscillating unit, or however you want to say it, they're not going to come pick up your trash. It's going to be sitting out there. It's going to be exposed. There's going to be, human waste and trash and things accumulating around you. You're not going to want those rats and those pests and those bugs and those roaches and things inside your home. How are you going to keep them away from you and your living space? Because you're going to have on hand bug spray. You're going to have ant and roach spray. You're going to have the perimeter spray backed up and stored in your, workshop or wherever. You're going to have the, bug spray for, as far as like whenever you go camping, you think of the mosquito and tick repellent, you're going to have that kind of bug spray stocked up. You're going to have the bars, that are the poison for the rats in case you need to keep them, away from your dwelling place. You're going to make sure that you've got, whatever it is that you need to deter pests. Just know that, whenever things shut down, you're going to be exposed to a lot more garbage and things are just going to sit stagnant that normally are moving and we're able to clean out, and you need a way to prevent them from coming in. It doesn't do any good to have 16 bags of rice on your counter or out on your shelf wherever stored up in your stockpile. If you've got rats coming in eating it, it's not going to be able to be used. So you need to make sure that that's where those 5-gallon food grade buckets come in, that you can seal these things off. And if you do that with your rice or whatever, make sure you label on it the directions on how to cook it, because all white rice and stuff are prepared the same. So bug spray, rat bait, poison, something to keep the rodents and the pests out of your home.
Number 25.
Yeah, and the last one we put on here is a tent. Like I said, this list could be, we could fill up this with lists of things you could use for stockpiling. These are just the 25 that popped into our head first. So the 25th one is a tent. Why? Because if you are in a frozen blizzard environment, for those of you who are up, north.
Well, tap them when they get some.
Yeah, tap them. Let's say that you get a blizzard, you get shut down. It is freezing cold outside. How are you going to keep yourself warm? Yeah, you've got blankets. Yeah, you can, close things in. But if you set up a tent in the interior of your home with those blankets and with those things, you're going to be able to have a little more insulation, and it's going to keep you warmer and alive for longer if you use it indoors. Now, for those of us on the opposite end of the spectrum who are in Florida and we're dying of heat stroke, what are we going to do with a tent? Well, let me tell you, most Florida homes anymore are not built for ventilation. They're not built to have a cross breeze coming through one window and out the other. So you're going to need to ventilate. You're going to need some fresh air. You're going to need to cool off. And whenever that comes, something you're going to do is you're going to set that tent up in your yard or on in your driveway, whatever. You're going to unzip those little closures, and you're going to have that screen vent. You're going to be able to have the ventilation that you need. So tents work outside for ventilation in Florida, or if you're somewhere where it's hot. Inside, you close them up, and they work for insulation to keep you warmer and alive for longer. So, like I said, those are 25 things. I am not going to reiterate all of this, but if you guys missed it, you can always watch the replay. Make sure you share this with your friends. If you don't have a stockpile, guys, I don't know why you wouldn't. I really don't. It's great, and yes, we trust that God's going to, provide for us and our family, but at the same time, He gave us wisdom, and, you got to be prepared. You got to be ready. So if you didn't catch all 25 things, watch the replay, share it with your friends. I'm going to put it on our YouTube page just because this is something that we feel is important to share with other people, because I don't want anybody to be lacking something that they need that's important to keep their family alive and healthy.
And if you want a doomsday prep, because this ain't for doomsday prep, if you want a doomsday prep, get your Bible out, come to know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, because that's the prep you need to get to heaven.
Yep, that's it. Jesus first. If you got Jesus, then number 2 is get your stockpile ready. And if y'all have any questions, you can feel free to message us. We're here whenever. That we love you guys, and I hope this has opened the eyes of some people, and I hope it's been a help for others who are new to the whole stockpiling mindset. So love you guys. Y'all take care. Thanks for sharing your Sunday afternoon with us, and we'll catch you later. Bye.